Here we go now, hour 3 radio program on a busy Thursday afternoon. Nice to have you aboard as we chat to you about what's going on in the world of sports. With you tomorrow on Good Friday, so we'll do a talk show for you tomorrow with the Final Four and all the things going on as far as college basketball is concerned. And next week, of course, with you all week with the Masters, and we take you home in what is a busy part of the year. Let's do a couple little things as far as potpourri goes. We'll start the Giants in football and where we stand. They're very interesting right now as far as where they are, because Odell, I don't think they're serious about trading him. I think if somebody bowled them over with an incredible package of, lots of first-round picks. I mean, if Buffalo came to him and said, I'll give you 12 and 22 for Odell Beckham, I think they got 2 first-rounders still, do they not, with all the trades? We can look at the actual list down below in that first round. Would the Giants bite? Well, that's possible, but Buffalo wants a quarterback, so I don't think they want to trade to get a wide receiver and then have, A.J. McCarron throw him the ball. So, I mean, and that's not exactly a spot where he wants to be anyway, and then he's going to moan and groan about staying there long term. So, unless somebody really gets creative and gives the Giants lots of picks for Odell, I don't think the Giants are going to trade him myself. I really don't. I think the Giants will figure out a way to keep him. I think the Giants realize that, he's a diva more than anything else. I don't think he's a bad kid. I think he's just a diva. He likes to be in, he's a page 6 guy is what he is. He's a People magazine guy, and sometimes that can be annoying. He's a People magazine guy with very poor judgment. He's not a terrible kid. I don't think anybody thinks he doesn't want to win and he's bad in the locker room and, he does drugs or he gets himself in trouble. He's not the jet wide receiver who did what he did with that cop down there in he's not Robbie Anderson, right? He's not a bad kid, so I think Mara knows that. But I think he's annoyed by him, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's a bad kid. So that's number one, what the Giants do there. And I don't think the Giants are going to take a quarterback with that second pick. Now, I think if Darnold dropped to him at 2, I think they might have a change of heart. But I think the Giants are the quarterback that they like, and I don't know anything about this. This is just me talking. I get the idea that the Giants, if Darnold fell to him, I could see the Giants going there because I think Darnold's going to be really good, and I think he's the best of the threesome or the foursome. Now, a lot of the draft boards don't have him going 1. They have Josh Allen going 1 to Cleveland. That's what Mel Kiper has, and I guess Josh Allen, did a nice job on the Wonderlic score, if you care about that. But he wasn't accurate in college. Most quarterbacks who are not accurate, and he was only 56%, and that's at Wyoming. That's not in the Big Ten or the SEC. I mean, I don't know if they're all of a sudden going to find themselves in the NFL. So I don't think he's going that high. I think it's going to be Darnold to the Browns. And if that's the case, then the Giants' decision to me is going to be, do I trade downward or do I use the second pick to take Barkley? I don't think the Giants are in love with taking a running back, but he is so good they just might. So I think that would be the Giants' call. And I don't think they're going to trade Odell unless, again, somebody just blows them away with one of these incredible offers. And I don't think right now that is going to happen. So the Giants situation is unique. The Jets have to have made that trade when they did with the Colts, thinking that they could live with 3 of the 4 quarterbacks. Now, they might have their opportunity to take the second best quarterback on their board, but they must feel very comfortable in either Mayfield or Rosen, because that would be, you would think, the 3rd quarterback on the chart list. Let's say the Browns took Darnold and the Giants took Allen. They'd have to be comfortable with either Rosen or Mayfield to have made that trade, and they must be. So, and then we sit tight and we'll see where we stand down the road as far as Denver is concerned and what have you. I think the Browns, if Barkley is sitting there at 4, would take him. I thought for a while the Browns would take Barkley with the 1st pick and then get a quarterback with the 4th pick. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. I thought it might be, but I don't think it's going to be the case anymore, because if they do trade out of that 1 spot for picks later on, there is a chance that they wouldn't get, or if they take Barkley with their 1 spot, there's a chance that they really feel that, you'd have the quarterback go 2-3, and they might have made a decision, the Browns, that Darnold is that much better than the 3rd quarterback. And if the Browns have made that decision, and it sounds like they loved Darnold's pro day, if they've made that decision, or Allen, a lot of people still think he's going into Cleveland, but if they've made the decision that the 3rd quarterback is a lot worse than the 1st quarterback, well, then they can't make that move. And it sounds like maybe they have. So we'll have to keep an eye on that with Cleveland. But the draft with the Giants right now is interesting, and you throw Beckham into the mix, which is interesting. Beckham is in the same boat, as we discussed a lot, that Aaron Donald is in. He wants the huge money, but he wants it a year too soon. And the Giants are not required to give him the money. He can't do anything. I mean, he's going to make $8 million this year, and there really isn't a whole lot of what he's going to do about it. I mean, it's the way the rookie contracts go, and he is going to sit tight with that money. And there's not a whole lot that Beckham can do. I mean, he can sit out all year, and then that doesn't do him any good. He can sit out training camp and really put pressure on the Giants to trade him or give him the contract before they have to, and I don't think that the Giants are going to do that either. So it's really, in a lot of ways, if the Giants just sit tight and don't give him a big contract extension, the ball will be in Beckham's court. And I'm not exactly sure what he can do about it. So that is number one. The football is always very interesting. We can sit there and talk helmets all day. Again, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. We discussed that in length yesterday with the helmet, with the tackle rule. And I wish I had an answer. Goodell does nothing, then he gets murdered. But, youth football, it's disgraceful, it's dangerous, pay for concussions and everything else. And then if he does something, he's got Richard Sherman killing him about how they're making football soft and you can't tackle anymore. So the NFL is in a tricky spot from that standpoint. That is point number one. Point number two is still where we stand as far as the NBA playoffs go. It sounds like Durant and Golden State's playing poorly right now. They lost Indiana the other night. Sounds like Durant and is in a situation that he says he's going to come back and play on Thursday no matter what. They play Milwaukee Thursday night, and he says he's going to come back and play. No Curry for a while. I don't know where Klay Thompson is. I'm not sure how long he's out for, but a mess for Golden State. And the issue with Golden State right now, simply in the NBA, is where do they stand with these injuries? Are we at the point with the Warriors where we now think they are very vulnerable in the postseason? I find it very difficult to believe that the 7th seed, whoever they may be, Utah, OKC, I have very difficult trouble believing. Portland's going to be the 3 seed. All right, so we're going to leave Houston 1, Golden State's going to be 2, and Portland's going to be 3. So that and so I don't know who the 7th seed could be. It's wide open. I mean, it even could be the Clippers. I mean, all these teams are fighting for that spot. Could be New Orleans, could be the Spurs, Thunder. But is Golden State vulnerable anywhere in the playoffs with these injuries? I think they beat the 7th seed. Then they would play Portland in that second round. Portland loves to play. Portland likes to play the Warriors. They like to try to outscore them. They got a good home court, but I don't see Golden State, if they get everybody back, and that includes Curry, I would think they beat them. The question is, has Golden State become somewhat vulnerable with Curry and injuries and Thompson and everything else? Have they become somewhat vulnerable in the Western Conference with Houston? And I don't like the way Houston's going to deal with it in the postseason. The big player doesn't play well in the postseason. And Harden, he's never proved he's been a big postseason player. D'Antoni, for the most part, has never proved that he can get the job done in the postseason. Tough competition, San Antonio, but he's never proved it. And whether they can play defense on a high level to stop somebody with seasons on the line, I got to see that before I believe in Houston. I mean, they're going to win, 65-60. I mean, they're 61-14. They're having they got 7 games to go. They're going to go, they're going to win 66 games. I mean, but I don't trust them. But is Golden State now compromised with their injuries that they could be picked off by Houston? I can't answer that. I don't think anybody can right now. And then the other thing in the East is how good, we've talked a lot about where Toronto is and can we trust them in a big series. Right now, and Boston's had a heck of a road trip. Boston's got all these injuries. They won at Portland, they won at Utah, and then they beat the 2 bad teams in the Kings and the Suns. I mean, he is a tremendous, what a job he's done. And they got the whole team hurt. No Irving, no Hayward, and everything else. But, right now it's Rozier who's hitting 9 threes a game. But Philadelphia right now is interesting. They have a chance, the Sixers, to actually be the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, which would obviously then mean home court. They got a chance to have the 4th best record, even the 3rd when you get right down to it. There's Toronto and Boston are going to be the 1 and 2, and Milwaukee and Miami will be the 7 and the 8. And so 3, 4, or 5 in that conference is, relatively interesting, as you got Philly, Washington, and, Indiana, and well, it's 3, 4, 5, 6. Those 4 teams, Indiana, Cleveland, Milwaukee, and Philly. I'm sorry, Indiana, Cleveland, Washington, and Philly, where those teams stand and where they stack up in that spot between 2, 3, and 6 is fascinating right now. Is it possible that Philadelphia could run all the way down to 6. Yeah, it's possible. And then that might be asking even too much for them. That would be essentially every series on the road in the postseason where they have to play Game 7 on the road. And that's playing a little fire. And also tough matchups. And they could end up 6. Right now they have 30 losses. Philadelphia has 30 losses, and Indiana has 31 losses. I think they beat out the Wizards. So they are looking at a 5 seed. Philadelphia could be 3. Cleveland could be 3, 4, or 5. That's where they could be, which if they're 5, still means they're not getting home court in any of the rounds because they'd have to play away in game in the first series and away there in the second series against the Toronto winner, in the first, assuming Toronto wins. But the Philadelphia situation is interesting. They're 44-30. They have played really well. I don't know their last 6-7 game schedule scenario, but they're going to win 48, 49 games. And, Cleveland is 45-30. Now, Cleveland's got an easy schedule. The Knicks a couple times. They play Dallas. So Cleveland should get to 50. Now, I don't know. They got 7 left. They should get to 50. And I'm not too sure if Philadelphia will do that. So chances are Cleveland will be the 3 seed. I would say Philadelphia could be the 4 seed, and Washington could be the 5 seed. And Indiana's in there too. Indiana the 5. So right now, if the playoffs started today, Toronto 1, Boston 2. Cleveland would be 3. Philadelphia would be 4. Indiana would be 5. And Miami and Washington would be 6 right this second. Now, what schedule are you giving me right here?
Sixers.
The Sixers left they have the Cavs. So they got the Cavs and they got the Cavs at home. So that's an interesting game. They have Dallas, Cleveland. They got an easy schedule. They got Cleveland, Dallas, Atlanta, Milwaukee. And I'm not too sure who their last. That is their last game.
Last game.
They only have 4 games. No, we're not reading it properly.
They have 7 games total.
Okay.
Atlanta twice.
There we go. Eddie didn't have it on the right page. Atlanta, Charlotte, Brooklyn, Detroit, Cleveland, Dallas, Atlanta, and Milwaukee. It's pretty easy. So if they beat Philadelphia, they got a chance to be as high as a 3 seed in the NBA. That game is in Philly. So that's one of the interesting games we can keep an eye on down the road. So that's the NBA story. Keep an eye on that. Masters begins next week. The Tiger Woods book, by the way, which has got a lot of publicity, is a tremendous book. Now, I think the negative, and we talked to Katayan and Benedict, the 2 authors, they're coming in studio on Monday at 5 o'clock for an hour. And I know the title game is that night. We'll cover that. We'll have Krzyzewski on that day anyway. At what time? 3. So Mike will start the show and Armin will end it. That will be, the book is a great book. Okay, now, the negative of the book, and I've read 143 pages. I haven't finished it. I got a long way to go. It's 450 pages. If there is a negative of the book, you know what it is? It's too much. You've read so much. Tiger's been in our face for so long in so many ways. The greatness, the fall, the back page scandal, the back injuries. He's been in our face so many times that you might be a little Tiger worn out. And this book, there's 500 pages of Tiger. You learn things new. There's no question about it. There is a lot of new things in there, but it is Tiger. It is all Tiger, and I could see people saying, "I've had enough of Tiger." All right, you learn about his tournaments, you learn about how he got to where he got, you learn about his family, you learn about the junior, the amateur, the ones he won at the U.S. Amateur 3 years in a row. You learn plenty about Earl Woods. You learn about that second wife. I mean, there's plenty to learn here. I don't know if it's almost too much. That's the negative of the book. That, more. I've read so much about Tiger. I got 500 pages again. That's the negative. It's a little overwhelming.
I'm going to be really into this.
It's very good. He does a great job.
How did he get all his info? He didn't interview Tiger, correct?
No, he did not. Tiger was not available. Well, he did 300 interviews, and he read everything he could find. And the 2 of them are award-winning journalists.
Right.
These are big-time
Armin's not
writers.
the type of guy that's going to just.
Oh no, and the other guy's great too, right. Benedict.
Yeah.
These are not. These guys are big-time guys.
They've got some really personal stuff in here.
Yeah, they do. They track people down. I mean, but Tiger did not talk. Earl Woods is dead. The mother didn't talk. There's not a lot of people who talk to him, so they had to come up with a lot of their stuff on their own, which is tricky.
Yeah, I'm going to be into that.
But it's very good.
I think Tiger's one of those rare figures that you can't get too much of.
Well, you can argue that. You could argue that. Now, there was a time in the first 143 pages I said, geez, this is going to take a lot of work to get through this. I read 50, 60 pages in the last day, and a lot of it was interesting. I'll give you one little story. Third amateur in Oregon, U.S. amateur, was trying to win the first guy. Bobby Jones never did it. He was trying to be the first person ever to win 3 U.S. amateurs in his career. He's playing in Oregon against Steve Scott. Steve Scott is a head pro of a course in Rockland County now. His wife was his caddy. In that 36 holes, it's match play. Match play. Not stroke play, it's match play.
How old is Tiger at this time, roughly?
He's about 19, 20. He's in college, maybe 21. Anyway, it's in Oregon. It's 36 holes on the final day. Tiger's down. Afternoon session, he's down. After the morning session, he's losing by like 3 holes. He's down back 9 late. He's losing. They play a par 4. They play a hole on that late part of the back 9. He's down by 2 holes. Down 2. And the other person, Steve Scott, is away 25 feet on the green in 2. Tiger's about 8 feet, but in his line. So Tiger's got to mark his ball. He's down 2 with about 3 holes to go. He's got to mark his ball, and he's got to move it. This is in his line. So he moves it left. Kid misses the putt. Gets up and down 4. Okay? So Tiger's got to birdie the hole here. Can't have it. He's putting for a birdie. 8 feet. He does not mark the ball back to where his original ball was. He does not move it back. He's about to putt, and Scott tells him, Tiger, got to remark it. Tiger stops, remarks it, makes the putt, ties him, and beats him in the 19th hole, wins the U.S. Amateur. It took Tiger basically 5 years to acknowledge the fact that the kid did a nice job by telling him, remark it. Because, in essence, in that situation, the kid does not say anything. Tiger loses the hole.
Right?
Well, he loses the hole. Doesn't disqualified. Okay. Loses the hole. But if he loses the hole, he loses the match. Because he's down by 2 with 3 to go. And Tiger didn't nod, didn't look at him, didn't say thank you, did nothing regarding Scott, and turned out to win the event. Tricky.
So Tiger's not coming across well here, is what you're saying.
In that situation, it was bothersome.
Yeah, I'm going to be into this.
A lot of situations.
That kind of situation's bothersome.
Now, is that because...
he blew off his first girlfriend who was with him for 4 years via letter.
That was a good story, though.
Do you get the feeling that a lot of this is because of Earl Woods?
Absolutely. And the mother. She's not great either. The parents are not good.
Well, they don't communicate at all.
They do nothing to him. He's basically locked in to play golf.
He's a golf machine, basically.
And the parents don't pay the pros. The golf pros teach... The players...
It's an honor to teach Tiger.
Basically. Yeah, this is my 5-year-old kid. He's a prodigy. I'm not paying you.
And he had a team of people with him.
The head pro didn't ask for money, but they never paid it. Now, Tiger made a deal with his half-sister. He did a good job here. He made a deal with his half-sister, Earl Woods' first daughter, first marriage, who lived in Palo Alto. And Tiger said, when he went to Stanford, do me a favor. You do my laundry for 4 years and I'll buy you a house. She does his laundry for 4 years. He signs his first Nike contract where he's got $40 million for a 5-year deal. He calls her up, go look for your house. So, there you go. Both sides. Fascinating. And remember, the first 7 tournaments that he played, he basically won 2 of them. Milwaukee Open was his first one. He played well. He won 2 tournaments. He won the Bob Hope and he won another one. And everybody thought he was, all the pros thought this guy is not going to be great. This guy's a lot of hype, blah, blah, blah. Turned out to win the 2 tournaments. And then in 97 Masters, he won that. And that's where I am right now. So
Eddie, from what Eddie said earlier on, he's about 100 pages in. He said it's a little too, golfy, technical.
Well, I love
golfy.
that stuff. I love that stuff.
So it's more golf than personal stuff.
Well, I guess because that's what Tiger did. Now, remember, Armin's a golfer.
It's a good mix, though. I thought it was a good mix.
Armin is a golfer. Armin went to San Diego State. He played baseball. Armin is a golfer. Now, Armin's not very good, but Armin's a great guy and a tremendous reporter, and he is a golfer. So, and he knows all those Connecticut golf clubs. And a lot of this is Connecticut golf clubs because a lot of the Tigers guys came from Connecticut.
Well, there were parts about that in there too. Harmon, breaking down his swing and showing how to golf with finesse. That's the kind of stuff that, I'm more into more of the salacious stuff and
I'll give you
the family life.
I'll give you a good Tiger story about golf. 188 yards away in a clinic His father said, Tiger, hit the ball in the green. I want you to hit a fade. Tiger hit a fade 10 feet away in a clinic. Drops the ball down, 188 yards. I don't want you to a draw. Tiger hits a draw, basically hits it at the same spot 10 feet away. He's 17, 18 years old. Tiger, I want you to stinger. You know, the line drive one, hits a stinger, bounces 14 feet above the hole, and drifts down to 5 feet. 188 yards, draw, fade, stinger. Boom, Tiger. A lot of that. Now, if that doesn't interest you, you don't know what a fade is. You don't want to draw. Draw the fade's the one direction, left to right, draws the other. If you don't know, if you don't care about that, well, it's going to be boring.
I mean, I think I'm interested to know what people actually think of Tiger and thought of Tiger during this time period. You know,
didn't have a ton of friends. Loner. Played his video games. Not good with girls. He loved Arnold Palmer. Palmer took him under his wing.
I thought the Nicholas stories were great. His whole goal in life.
Yeah. His goals in life, not necessarily, and Hank Haney taught us this anyway, are not to get over 14.
No, but the age. He wanted to be...
Yeah, he wanted to beat Jack and all the majors and win the majors and the big tournaments at a younger age than Jack did. That was more of his goal than actually getting to 19 as far as the titles are concerned. Hey, they did a great job. Again, I got a long way to go with it yet. But the point of it is, if you've had enough of Tiger over the last 20 years, he won in 97, it's 2018. If you're tigered out, you know what? You're going to have to get into it. It's 500 pages here. This is not 220 pages. This is a 500-page detailed book. I'll give you another one real quick. That's fascinating in the beginning part of the book. Earl Woods died. He was from Manhattan, Kansas. Earl Woods died. For whatever the reason, Tiger and his mother did not put a tombstone on it. Paid the guy to bury him, and no tombstone. Said they'd get back to him, never got back to him. So if you got to know, you have to know where the grave is to find him. Now maybe they did that because they didn't want anybody to know where their father was buried, or maybe they did that because at this point they may have been a little down on Earl Woods. Who knows? There's a lot of little things like that. Book is it's a tremendous read, and they'd be great here in the studio because they're good on the air. Allman is good on the air, and I don't know Jeff, but they're good on the air. Took them 3 years to write this. Last summer, in July, this is my same town. I was fortunate, very fortunate, to play in a foursome, member guest, and Armin played with me. And Armin told me that he's working on a Tiger book. I said, really, Armin? I says, how is this going to be different? All these Tiger, going to read another Tiger? And he said, believe me, this book's a good book. I said, Tiger, when's it coming out? He told me, next Masters. So, it's good. I'll tell you something else. You know Mike loves Tiger, my old partner. I told him about it. He wasn't aware of it. He said, you got to get me a book. I called Armin up. Armin, get one to Mike. Chris, he'll be there tomorrow morning, overnight. The issue that I'm going to find interesting is what we asked McManus the other day. Tiger, he's a CBS guy, Armin. CBS did the tournament, CBS. Well, this book, which is Monday, Tiger's going to have to answer questions about this book with his Masters press conference on Tuesday. I mean, somebody's going to ask him, Tiger, what do you think of the book? And he's going to say, I'm not going to read it, or he's going to ignore it. But unless he says I'm not answering any questions about it, it's going to be a theme. And you'll wonder if Tiger takes it out on CBS or some, that it was a CBS employee, who still is, who wrote the book. That would be interesting.
But I'm assuming there's nothing there that we haven't heard before.
I think there's probably some things in there.
Yeah, there is.
Were you aware of...
Nothing along the level that we already know, though.
Well, how about the letter? I had never heard that.
About the girlfriend?
They printed the letter, and...
Yeah, they obviously got a hold of the first girlfriend.
Yeah, they printed this letter, and...
who did everything for Tiger.
My point is, does that surprise you?
It's embarrassing when you read this letter. It's really embarrassing.
It shows you...
actually has the letter?
Yeah, they print it. It shows you... Matter of fact... You know what?
Don't read it. I want to read it. Don't spoil it.
This is a good one, though. This is rough.
Come on, Chris, I want to read the book.
You can read the book. It's 500 pages. What page is that on, Eddie? Let's see. That page is where? 85, 86, something like that? It's at the end of a chapter, isn't it? Let's see. Okay, now here you go. I'll read it to you. Okay. My shoulder, Dina, my shoulder is okay. It's just a strained and overused rotator cuff. The reason for writing this letter is to inform you of my of my absolute anger and disappointment in you. Today I heard from my parents that you were telling everyone in the gallery who would listen that you were Tiger's girlfriend. Then you have the nerve to tell me in the clubhouse that when a reporter asks who you were, you responded with just a friend. My parents, he mentions his 2 half-sisters and myself, never want to talk or hear from you again. Reflecting back over this relationship, I feel used and manipulated by you and your family. I hope the rest of your life runs well for you. I know this is sudden and a surprise, but in my opinion, it is much warranted. P.S. Please mail my necklace that I gave you to me when you get back home. Don't show up at the tournament tomorrow because you are just not welcome. None of that happened.
Sounds like a business letter.
That's what's so odd about it.
The parents told Tiger, don't be interfere with his girlfriend.
And the best part was they were staying together mutually in the same hotel. And he dropped her bag off at another hotel with the letter.
She couldn't realize the bag. Well, hold on now. We were at the same hotel. She goes downstairs. She got a bag here, and there's the letter. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. Anyway, Steve Torrey announced today.
Hello, Chris.
Now, do you see yourself reading the Tiger book?
Eddie says it's great.
Now, Eddie doesn't know a lot about Tiger. You do.
I knew a lot about Tiger, but there's some more stuff in here that I'm learning that I'm finding fascinating.
Now, we know that you are not a big reader. We have learned that.
Yes.
Will you see yourself sitting there reading 475 pages of Tiger?
That could be a little challenging, but it's something I would think about.
Oh, you would? Okay, very good.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just take a look. I want to see what Judge did. He just walked. Okay.
He's
I'm just trying to figure out how he got on base.
He's wrapped up in it.
It looks like they're yanking Hap because they want no part of Giancarlo. Coming up next.
Here's our good buddy Steve Torrey at half past. I'm Mad Dog.